In June of 1944, a man received the Iron Cross from Nazi Germany. 6 weeks later, the same man received the Member of the British Empire from King George VI. His name was Juan Pujol García, and both sides believed, completely and without reservation, that he had been working for them. Both sides were right, and both sides were wrong. This is the story of a man who invented an entire war, and used the lie to end the real one. Juan Pujol was born in Barcelona in 1912. He was not a soldier. He was not a strategist. He ran a chicken farm. What he was, more than anything else, was a man who had watched fascism up close and decided he couldn't live with doing nothing about it. During the Spanish Civil War, Pujol had served briefly on both sides, more by conscription than conviction. He watched atrocities committed by the left and atrocities committed by the right. What he came away with was not ideology. It was disgust. By the time the Second World War began, he had a wife, a failing business, and one fixed idea: that Nazi Germany needed to be destroyed, and that he personally intended to do something about it. The problem was that nobody wanted his help. In 1940, Pujol walked into the British embassy in Madrid and offered his services as a spy. They turned him down. He went back. They turned him down again. A third time. Still no. The British had no idea who he was. He had no credentials, no training, no connections, no track record. To the intelligence officers who reviewed his file, he was a nobody with an idea. So Juan Pujol did what any reasonable person would do. He went to the Germans instead. In 1941, Pujol contacted German intelligence, the Abwehr, and told them he was a Spanish government official with access to Britain. He wasn't. He had never been to Britain. He was sitting in Lisbon, Portugal, working from a Blue Guide tourist map, a railway timetable, and back issues of British magazines. He invented a network of sub-agents across the United Kingdom. He gave them names, backstories, locations. He wrote their reports himself, carefully calibrated to sound credible, just specific enough to feel real, just vague enough never to be verified. The Germans paid him, they trusted him, they gave him the code name Arabelle. And still, for 18 months, the British didn't know he existed. It was MI5 officer Thomas Harris who finally tracked down the source of the strange, partially accurate intelligence reports arriving in Berlin. Reports that seemed to be coming from agents inside Britain that British intelligence had never identified. When they realized what Pujol had been doing alone, with a tourist map and a typewriter, they didn't arrest him. They recruited him. The British gave him a new code name, GARBO, named, his handlers said, for the greatest actor in the world. Working now with MI5 and under the guidance of Officer Thomas Harris, Pujol expanded his fictional network to 27 agents. He corresponded with the Abwehr almost daily. He filed detailed reports. He invented family problems for his sub-agents. He killed one off, then collected the funeral expenses from Berlin. The Germans never once suspected him. In 4 years of operation, the Abwehr sent him the equivalent of more than $20,000, roughly $1 million in today's terms, to fund an espionage network that did not exist. Every asset they thought they had in Britain was a ghost. Every piece of intelligence they were receiving was controlled. By the spring of 1944, the Allies were preparing the largest amphibious invasion in human history. The target was Normandy. But the Germans couldn't know that. Operation Fortitude, the Allied deception plan, had one job: convince Hitler that the real invasion was coming at Pas de Calais, the narrowest point of the English Channel, 400 kilometers northeast of the actual landing beaches. GARBO was the linchpin. On the night of June 5, 1944, hours before the first Allied soldiers landed on the beaches of Normandy, Pujol sent an urgent message to his German handlers requesting an emergency radio contact. They didn't respond in time. The landings happened anyway. But then, in the days after D-Day, when the Germans were desperately trying to decide whether Normandy was the real invasion or a feint, Pujol sent a message that historians would later call one of the most consequential communications of the entire war. He told Berlin, "Normandy is the diversion. The real attack is still coming at Pas-de-Calais. Hold your panzer divisions." Wait, Hitler believed him. For 6 critical weeks after D-Day, Germany's most powerful armored reserve sat immobile at Pas-de-Calais, waiting for an invasion that never came. By the time the Germans understood what had happened, the Allied beachhead in Normandy was permanent. In recognition of his extraordinary service to the Third Reich, Germany awarded Juan Pujol the Iron Cross, one of their highest military honors. In recognition of his extraordinary service to Great Britain, King George VI awarded Juan Pujol the member of the British Empire. He received both. And somewhere in that absurdity is the truth of what he did. He did not operate on one side of the war. He operated inside the war itself, inside its assumptions, its bureaucracies, its desperation to believe what it wanted to believe. He understood something that intelligence agencies with unlimited budgets and trained professionals had not fully grasped, that the most dangerous weapon in wartime is a convincing story, and the most powerful spy is the one both sides are certain they own. After the war, Juan Pujol was resettled under a new identity. The British helped him disappear, for his own safety, and perhaps for their own. For decades, most of the world had never heard his name. He was officially dead. He had let that rumor spread. In 1984, a historian named Nigel West tracked him down living in Venezuela. He was 72 years old. He had been running a bookshop. That same year, he returned to Normandy, the beaches where the deception he had built helped turn the tide. He stood on the sand. A Spanish chicken farmer who had once been rejected by British intelligence, who had built an empire of lies from a tourist map and a typewriter, who had tricked Nazi Germany into holding its army in the wrong place on the most important day of the century. Juan Pujol García died in 1988. He held the Iron Cross in the MBE until the end. History has a strange way of burying the people who saved it. We're saying his name now. In our next episode, a woman who memorized the names of thousands of children she was smuggling out of the Warsaw Ghetto, one at a time, in the bottom of a toolbox. She was caught. She was tortured. She told them nothing.